The third episode of the greatest show of all time, The Simpsons, is titled Homer's Odyssey. Though Simpsons is rightly regarded as an iconic comedy, Homer's Odyssey is surprisingly poignant in tone as Homer loses his job at the power plant and consequently contemplates suicide. Pretty dark stuff for our donut-loving hero. The rich characterization of that series ultimately helps cement its place in history. Similarly, the human element of the Odyssey makes it an extra impressive work, apart from all the awesome spectacle it contains. I just watched it a second time over the weekend, and several emotional beats are still lingering with me. It's a sweeping epic adapted from Homer's Greek poem, which I've admittedly never read, but it seems to be one of those cultural artifacts so ubiquitous that it's recognizable anyway. This new adaptation is writer-director Christopher Nolan's follow-up to the enormously successful biopic Oppenheimer. Though Oppenheimer was more of a taut drama compared to the Odyssey's mythical fantasy elements, both films focus on men dealing with the psychological toll of sacrificing many lives for a greater purpose. The Odyssey tells the story of the king Odysseus, played by Matt Damon, and his arduous journey home to his son Telemachus, played by Tom Holland, and his wife Penelope, played by Anne Hathaway. I can't help but root for a fellow Bostonian with a huge head and a pretty woman by his side. They eagerly await his return to the island of Ithaca, which is besieged by nefarious house guests, notably and especially slimy Robert Pattinson. Throughout, we get many flashbacks to all the obstacles Odysseus and his men face, which leads to truly harrowing sequences. It's noteworthy to consider that Nolan's never made a pure horror film, since several of these encounters are effectively ghoulish and disturbing. The supporting cast contains several Nolan repeats like Damon, Hathaway, Pattinson, Elliot Page, and so forth, but also new collaborators like Charlize Theron, Tom Holland, and Zendaya. There's a risk of such a stacked cast feeling overcrowded, but every player gets a chance to leave an impression. Pattinson and John Bernthal preen and cavort, Samantha Morton and Lupita Nyong'o simmer with menace, and John Leguizamo assists his canine-loving friend just like he did in John Wick. There's understandably a wide scope to this tale, as you'd expect from a title like The Odyssey, and yet I thought the pace flew by. It reminds me of Ran, Akira Kurosawa's masterpiece of a King Lear adaptation, and that it's also an ambitious triumph from a master who's still pushing the envelope after multiple classics. I highly recommend The Odyssey, especially in IMAX, though I'm sure many of you have already seen it. Unless you'd rather wait for Grok's AI Odyssey film that is historically accurate.
What the fuck is that?
So yeah, grab your helmet, your sandals, your sword, whatever else you need, and check out The Odyssey.